Hi, I'm going to demonstrate how to paint an apple with the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, plus white. As an art teacher, I've learned to use inexpensive materials to suit large class sizes, so today we're going to be using all inexpensive materials. I'm using bulk acrylic paints, but really any type of acrylics will do. You'll also need a pencil, drawing paper, masking tape, a drawing board, a 1/2 inch wide flat nylon brush, reusable plastic containers, a cup of water, and a cloth or paper towels. And, of course, an apple, illuminated with a clip light or some other light source. These are the colors I'm using: phthalo blue, bright red, chrome yellow, and titanium white. But you can use just about any red, yellow, blue, and white acrylics and get the same or better results. I start by pre-mixing the colors needed to paint the apple. And I'm going to simplify it to 4 total colors for the apple, 3 values of red and white for the highlights. First, I mix the lightest color using red, yellow, and white in almost equal amounts. You might have to tweak the amounts a little. This creates a nice light red-orange color that I see in the lightest areas of the apple, right around the highlights. The second color is straight red. The third mixture is red plus a little blue and a dab of yellow. I'm using one brush for mixing and painting, so I wipe off the brush before dipping it into a different color. The fourth is straight white for highlights. I believe pre-mixing colors is really important. It saves time when you're actually painting, plus the paints are wet whenever you apply them next to each other, so you can easily blend edges. So here is a breakdown of the colors and what I use to mix them. Here you can see how these colors match up with the different areas of my apple. Pre-mixing these colors and values makes the application process so much easier for beginning artists. Now it's time to tape down the paper. Tape each side with the masking tape strip, about half on the edge of the paper and the other half on the drawing board. That will keep it from moving around and warping while you paint. Next, I do a quick contour drawing in graphite pencil. Now let's get painting. I start working light to dark. First, I just get a little white paint on my brush and dab it into the highlight areas. Next, I get a little of my lightest red and dab or scumble it around the highlight area. I don't want a ton of paint on my brush. Work with small dabs or strokes of paint and gradually build them up. I work this color into the edges of the white highlights that are still wet to blend them together. Next, I use the middle value, which is just straight red, to work into the corresponding areas of the apple. Think of this dabbing technique, sometimes called scumbling, as shading with paint. Finally, I put the darkest red value in the form shadows of the apple. There is an area of reflected light near the bottom of the apple. I fill it in with my lightest red color and blend it with the surrounding colors. Now I'll pre-mix 4 colors for the background and cast shadow. The lightest is mostly white plus some yellow, a little red, and just a touch of blue to lessen the intensity. The next color is made with about the same mixture, but less white. The dark color is mixed with red, yellow, and blue in almost equal amounts, with a dab of white. The darkest color is some blue plus red and yellow, with no white added. You can adjust these colors as you need to get the right balance. Here's how these colors line up with my background. Now let's get this background and cast shadow painted. It's a lot of negative space. I probably could have cropped the edges a bit closer to the apple, but that's okay. I'm working light to dark again. The lightest value is closest to the left side of the apple. The next lightest color is applied in the rest of the areas of the wooden surface the apple is sitting on. I blend those 2 colors together. Now I start painting the background with the next darkest color. I blend this color into the edge of the table in the background by slightly overlapping the strokes to create a soft edge, and by dabbing a little wet paint of the lighter color along the edge. This helps create a sense of distance between the apple and the background. Now I paint and blend the darkest color into the edges of the background. I then start with the darkest color for the cast shadow, working outward from the bottom of the apple. Next, I use the second darkest color, blending it out from the darkest shadow color. Notice there is an area of reflected light in the cast shadow along the right side of the apple. Here I mix in one of the lighter tones to create the reflected light. Now it's time for adjustments and finishing touches. One big adjustment I make is to lighten the entire surface the apple is sitting on. It looks a bit too dark to me. I mix a lighter color by adding white and scumble this into the painting. I start with more paint in the lightest area, then use less paint as I work away from there, lightly brushing it so it blends with the darker color underneath. Now for finishing touches. I mix red with my darkest color to darken the reflection of the cast shadow on the edge of the apple. I adjust some of the edges and values in the cast shadow. I lighten the background a little just above the upper right portion of the apple. Then I adjust some of the values of the apple itself until I'm satisfied with the result. Okay, I think I'm finished. Now I carefully peel the tape away from the center of the painting so I don't tear the painting itself. There are some thicker areas of paint that have dried down toward the bottom. I have to work at it a bit because the tape keeps ripping, but eventually I get it off. And that's one way to paint an apple with 3 primary colors plus white using inexpensive materials. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration and found it useful. Thank you for watching.